cameras on. And as I was explaining at the beginning of the class, we're only going to have the first hour of the class. I would let you leave ahead of time. I know you have a lot of projects, assignments, and many things to turn in, but I really need you to focus in this first part of our class. Make sure your microphones are off, and our guest is here today. For those of you who haven't turned on your cameras, please make sure to have your cameras on. Thank you very much, Mr. Jenkins, for joining us today. This is our international public relations class. I believe some of these students you have probably seen in our leadership class. However, most of them, I don't think they have met you. They have had the opportunity to meet you. For those of you who are just joining, make sure to have your cameras on. We have a guest today, and we need to have your cameras on. So as we begin, the rest of the students, please make sure to take notes as we go into having Mr. Jenkins start with his presentation. Let me formally now introduce Mr. Jenkins. I usually don't introduce him formally. This time I'm going to do so because he's a very experienced teacher. And here we go. Mr. Jenkins is an educational leader. Guys, somebody's microphone is on. Let me make sure everybody's microphones are turned off.
It's mine.
Hold on. Yes, we have a lot of background noise. Okay, here we go. Mr. Jenkins is an educational leader, teacher, coach, motivational speaker, and entrepreneur. He holds an undergraduate degree in performing arts by the University of Manchester in England and a master's degree in education and curriculum design by Western Governors University in the United States. He has coordinated projects and has led teaching teams in several private and public schools in both England and the United States. He is a designer of creative, trans-disciplinary, student-centric curricula and has collaborated on integrated project-based learning units in several educational institutions. He was awarded the Promising Practice Award in the year 2015 as one of the most inspirational Westside School teachers in the United States. A successful athlete himself, Mr. Jenkins has a long history of extracurriculum coaching and leadership teaching, a successful history of nurturing a long-term growth mindset among students, and developing the intrinsic motivation for students to continue as lifelong learners. So thank you very, very much, Mr. Jenkins. I know you're right now in your working hours as a teacher, so we really and truly appreciate you being here. For those of you who are just joining, make sure your cameras are on, and thank you very much. Now the microphone is all yours, Mr. Jenkins. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Miss Sandoval. Wow. Well, if anyone is still awake after that introduction, then good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Is that correct? Buenas tardes? Okay. I think I've met some of you before. Could you just give me a couple of thumbs up if I've met you before, or if you've met me before? Seen some familiar faces, absolutely. So as Miss Sandoval said, I grew up in England, and I was in England for 37 years, and then I moved to New York in 2007. And spent time teaching there, and now I live just outside, about 20 miles outside of Seattle, which is up on the west coast, just below, about 3 hours from Canada. So 3-hour drive. So Miss Sandoval was talking to me earlier this week, last week sometime, and we were just talking about you guys. We were talking about, what's it like where you're at right now? What are you going through? What, you've got assignments due. I don't know. Is it an exciting time? Is it a stressful time? Is it a fun time? I don't know if you know the words to those things. So what I thought we'd do is we'll just start an activity. If you've got a pencil, piece of paper, or a pen, the risk takers write in pen, right? Yeah. Those people that do math in pen because they can't erase it, right? The brave people. So piece of, with a pencil, pen, whatever. Just jot down what it is that you want between now and when does your school year end? When does your term end? Is it about 3 weeks? How long? The summer?
2 more weeks.
Okay. What is it you want, right? between now and let's say within the next month, give yourself a month deadline. What is it? List the things that you want from school. Okay, so where do you want to be? How would you like your life to look and feel in 1 month's time? So just write a list of things, and it's going to be random. Okay, there's no wrong answers here, right? You can even write, I would really like a pet rabbit, right? Fine, right? If that's what you want, that's what you want. It might be something to do with exams. It might be something to do with assignments. It might be something to do with your way of feeling. It might be something to do with, I don't want any stress in my life. Well, if you don't want stress, what does that actually look like? Don't say I don't want stress, because not having stress doesn't look like anything. So I'll give you about a minute or so just to jot down the first things that come to mind. What do you want? Okay, so let's look for the brave. Who's brave? Who's going to share something, one of their wants?
If they're not brave, I can call their names. Don't worry. Come on,
Oh,
guys. Who would like to share?
I'm sure we won't have to stoop that low. Come on. Okay, who's going to be first one to shout it out? If this was a real classroom, I'd throw you a chocolate bar. So I don't know if that's an incentive. There is no chocolate and it's not a real classroom, but just think that if it was, that's what you would get. There we go. Fabulous.
Go for it.
Jaime? Is that how you say it? Jamie?
Jaime.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. I wrote down that I wish I started doing my social service because I haven't started yet. And also achieve to get my degree by perfect grades. So those are
So let's take the perfect grade, because did anyone else have something like perfect grades or want to get A's or want to get really good grades? Let's just see a show of hands for those that had the perfect grade wish. Anyone else? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, right? Okay, perfect grade. Makes a bit of sense, doesn't it? Right? You're all at college and that's something that that's one of the targets, isn't it? So when we think about it literally, we can't actually decide whether we get the perfect grade or not, can we? We don't do the grading, okay? Because if we did, that's how we'd get our perfect. We'd just give ourselves an A. Be so simple. So what's stopping you getting a perfect grade? Okay, so actually, let's go back. Did anyone not have getting good grades as their wish, and they want to share something else that they had? What was their top wish that didn't involve grades? Anyone?
Me.
Is that Ricardo?
Thanks. I think the rates are not important. The important is know when you want and how create this project.
I'm sorry, Ricardo. I don't know if your microphone's breaking up there a little bit.
Yes.
Or
Let me just confirm.
Don't worry.
Ricardo, is it projects? In your case, we're just sharing what is important to us, not saying what shouldn't be important for others. In your case, are you saying that for you it is projects? Is that your answer for you? What is important for you?
Well, I think design is important because create public opinion. in this time of confusion,
Ricardo, we cannot hear you. Your microphone is shutting down. Ricardo, can you write down your comment or your question?
I think I
problems
hear.
with your microphone.
I think I hear where Ricardo's going with, and I am in agreement with you, Ricardo. You're talking about the public opinion of whether grades are important or not. That wasn't the question. The actual question that we're looking for is just what do you as an individual want in, what are you wanting in the next month for yourself? So whether you think if grades aren't important to you, that's absolutely fine, as in what they stand for. Just share something that's really something that you want, okay? And let's face it, it might be something that you want temporarily that isn't important to anyone else. It's not about anyone else, it's about you. So put yourself first, because we don't always get the chance to do that in this world, right? Especially as we get older. Put yourself first and think about what is it I really want? What's going to make me happy? What's going to make me happy in the next month? By let's say the end of May, by the beginning of June, a place that I would be, what would happiness look like for me? Okay, so if someone says to get good grades, that's absolutely their right answer, right? It's not for us to say that that shouldn't make them happy, as long as it isn't causing harm to someone else. And I don't think getting good grades is harmful to other people. So did anyone else have anything else that they, something that's going to make them happy within the next month that isn't a grade related thing? Or should we just go with grades for now? Okay.
My top wish was to find a nice place to do my internship and to improve my skills in playing, because I play competitive video games. I play at a competitive level, so I want to improve my skills in that way.
Right. So my slight level of ADD is kicking in right now. What video games do you play, Lisette?
I play Call of Duty Mobile.
Okay, and you lost me there. So, okay, right. Well, you are obviously a higher level game player than I am, because I'm still on Grand Theft Auto 5. So, okay, right. So, yeah, so I don't know, 10 years ago, I don't know how old that game is. So, here's the thing. We all want something, correct? We all want something. We all want things. The next question is, what's stopping you? What's stopping you getting?
By now, I don't have the time to play the time I wish to.
I was going to ask you to write this down. Okay. I was going to ask you to write. No, it's fine. No, sorry. I feel like, we got in a one-on-one there. So you want these things. So what's stopping you from getting them? What are the obstacles? And I don't mean what's stopping you personally, but what are the internal things, as in what might be stopping you yourself? Or what are the things that you don't have so much control over, maybe, or maybe you do? Okay, Ricardo, I'm just reading your chat right now. Thank you for that. I really love that insight, Ricardo. I like that responsibility piece there. Yes. Okay, and as you're writing down these obstacles, you could classify them. So you could put them into 2 columns, or you could just underline one. One's an internal thing and one's an external thing. The internal things are, what are you responsible for? What are the obstacles that you could actually remove yourselves? And what are the obstacles that require, maybe you could be part of it, but you may require some help. Okay, so they're more external. So for example, time could actually work on both ways, right? If you're actually running out of time and there just isn't enough time to do something, that's an external thing. However, if it's a case of I have a really busy schedule, that doesn't necessarily mean there isn't a good time. It just means you have to sit down and get a plan together, right? Can you see where we're going with this? So we're going to look at the obstacles, and we're going to look at, okay, what can I control here, and what can I actually manipulate, or have a better word than manipulate, have an impact on?
I
Yeah.
can say other commentary.
Yeah, go on, Ricardo. Yes, I'm listening.
Thanks. I believe who many groups, social groups, actually abuse of your power. Groups who Antifa, Black Lives Matter, create shows, and ancestor and the media about your your destruction and your to to eso eso, perdone en inglés.
Ricardo, can you write down your question, please? Because you're cutting off and we cannot really understand what you're saying. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
Can you
sure.
write it down and
Thanks.
put it in the chat? No, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. And I definitely heard Antifa and the media there, and social groups. So I'm really excited to hear what you're, because there's some really big concepts there that you're talking about straight off. So I'd really interested to hear what your question is. Okay, so would anyone now like to share the relationship between, if you like, their goal for happiness and the obstacle? And it'd be great if this could become like a conversational piece, so that rather than you thinking like, oh, am I going to say the right thing? You're absolutely going to say the right thing because it's your thing. It's about you, right? So there's no wrong answers. No one's going to be like, oh, you didn't get a good grade for that answer. No, it doesn't work that way. So who'd like to share out something?
I don't know if they are quiet because they're thinking or they're quiet because I have no idea what's going on. Why are you
really
so quiet
interesting
today?
Do you know what's really interesting? I see about 7 faces that I know are just there. They're just dying to say it, but they're thinking like, should I say it? Should I say it? All right, I'm gonna Julieta, I don't know. There's something about you that says you're dying to tell me something. Am I correct? Can you just unmute yourself, Julieta?
Yeah, I was just telling my family to don't speak, please. Okay, one of my goals was to get a job. Like I've been wanting to get a job for the summer because I want to go on a trip and I need to save money, right? And what's stopping me? I put on procrastination because I've been really putting in for a long, like next week and next week and next week, because I don't know, I'm like scared to get a job like for real. And yeah, I wrote that down.
So the word there is procrastination, okay? Now, I was going to talk to you about procrastination today, but we're going to do it on my next visit, okay? That was my procrastination joke, because I'm going to put it off until next time. So, yeah, anyone? No? I think 3 people may have got that. Okay. So procrastination, oh my word, it's our biggest it's the biggest self-destruct button we have, or certainly one of them, right? Putting things off is absolutely devastating, and as we grow into professionals, and I say we, I'm still growing as one. Miss Sandoval is already the perfect professional, but as the rest of us mere mortals grow into professionals, right? Procrastination has to be the thing that we knock on the head straight away. It's get it done, because I'll do it tomorrow means forget it, I'm not doing it. There's an old saying, tomorrow, there is no tomorrow. Because guess what? Tomorrow brings its own, tomorrow or in 10 minutes time brings its own level of responsibility that we've got to deal with. So procrastination is almost getting you into like workload debt. Yeah. It's like, there's another job I have to do, but I've got tomorrow's jobs to do. So now I've got this other job on top, and then another job, and you never pay it off. You never get around to it. So, and it's really training yourself to just, and I tell you what, it's hard, right? Being a 20-year-old, 21, 22-year-old in 2021, it's different than when I was 21, and that's not because there aren't dinosaurs walking around, right? I'm not that old, but it's different because you've got so much more. There is so much more. I mean, I think ADD is now I think we're born with it. I think children born today, by the time they get to kindergarten, they've already got symptoms of ADD, which they wouldn't have had 25 years ago, because parents are giving them tablets. There's so much stimulus going on that there isn't one thing for them to focus on. There's just so much going on around us. And when I say it's hard for you guys at, in this age, it's nothing to do with the workload at school. That's exactly the same. It's all the other stuff you've got going on. I never had Snapchat. I still don't, just for the record. I don't have TikTok, but I didn't have TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. I didn't have any of that. So can you imagine the hours I had, right? Saved, that I didn't have to do all of that stuff. And that's before you start getting onto everything on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and Voodoo and all the other, So with all that going on, you understand where I'm coming from, right? Procrastination's pretty easy for you guys, right? It's almost you're born into it. So you've got to actually, it's almost like you've got to go to an anti-procrastination gym in your mind to work it out, right? You've really got to work that out. Don't get me wrong, procrastination's existed forever. And I was really good at it. I was brilliant when I was your age, one of the best. But I learned to, it becomes a thing where you've just got to make lists. The reason I actually had you writing these things down today, I'm sure you write things down, is my goal or my suggestion for you is for the next month is to keep a journal. And you might do already, but keep a handwritten journal, get an a pad or a notebook that is a specific journal that is, and Julietta, what you talked about in that journal, to-do lists. What do I have to do today? What am I going to get done this morning? And just chop that stuff down. Get rid of it, right? Hack your way through it. These are really simple strategies, but it's like anything else. It's like I say about like you've got a bathtub, right? You go and get in the bath, and you've got a beautiful bath, and you've got faucet, and you've got all your shampoo and everything. And then you've got this little rubber thing that you stick in, the stopper, the plug that goes in the plug hole that stops the water falling out. It costs about 50 cents from a hardware store. Try having a bath without one of those, right? If you haven't got that, that's holding all the water in, right? The most simple thing you could actually probably make something to do that job. But without that, your bath does not work. Right, and you're constantly losing your water all the time, and you're constantly playing catch up. You just couldn't do it. So simple things are massively important, and a to-do list every morning or night before is even better, because you know what, you can go to bed sometimes with peace of mind that at least everything, you're not worrying about what you've got to do, because you know what you've got to do. You've got it written down. You wake up in the morning and you start checking that list off. And where is it Lizette? Who's our video game player? I've lost her. Oh, Lizette. Is it Lizette? Is that how you say your name?
Yeah, I think it's close. Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with being close, but I'd rather be right. So what's your actual name? How do you say it?
Yeah, it's Lisette.
Lisette. Okay.
Yeah.
Lisette.
Thank you.
The thing is, you can gamify anything. And you can gamify a to-do list, right? A to-do list is something like every day I'm going to knock every one of these things off the list. And actually, I'm going to treat myself to a Starbucks if I do it before 3 o'clock or whatever. You know what I mean? Make it a game for yourself. Gamify your life. Make it more fun than it is now, right? Make it more fun than, give yourself a little bit more joy by creating little rewards for yourself So get your to-do list for the following day done the night before. And this isn't schoolwork. This is life. This is adult. This is living, right? This is adult world professionalism. Get your to-do list. Knock your to-do list out as quickly as you can the next day. So, Julietta, right on your to-do list now is look at job sites every day and set yourself a goal. Then we go into goal. It's basically goal setting, but it's not even long enough term, is it? If I say I'm going to do something tomorrow, yes, it's a goal, but really I've achieved the goal before I've had a chance for it to be a problem, you know? So get yourself to job sites or however you're going to find you know, and maybe you set a goal that I'm going to apply for 3 jobs a day, right? And who knows, before you get to the second day, you might have 2 out of 3 job offers, but you're not going to get, again, the simplicity is you are definitely going to get 0 job offers if you don't apply for any, right? That's the one, you know, not many guarantees in life, but there's one, okay? So the procrastination thing is a huge thing. For whatever your goals were for being happy, procrastination might be one of the obstacles that you probably all will have if you really look into it. Am I doing enough? Am I doing anything towards my happiness that I should be doing? Are there things that I am not doing? Okay. And the next thing is, what about the things where you need someone else's help? Well, you're not going to be successful in life on your own. You're not going to, and I've said this before, I think, you're not going to be successful in life on your own. You can be super successful at everything you do, but you're going to be far more successful when you've got people and the support groups around you. Ricardo, I'm going to come to your chat in a moment. It's a little bit unrelated to what we're talking about, but I think it's a fascinating thing to talk about. So who can help you? If you can't do it on your own, like you can manage your time on your own. You can overcome procrastination on your own. But the next question is, if there's something that you can't totally do on your own, then get that list of people down. Who's going to help me with it? Who's the person that's going to, that if I get together with this person or these people, that's going to break down that obstacle as well. Okay. So just based on what we talked about so far, what, is there anything anyone's thinking about that I haven't, any problems I haven't solved? Because that's all I'm here for. I'm just here to solve all your problems, folks. No, I'm not. I'm here to help you. And it's not even solving problems, it's relieving the stress that problems cause, right? We're always going to have problems, but if we can do it in a happier place and a more comfortable place and switching a mindset that it's a case of super positive, that, hey, you know what, I've got this. This is great. You know, you'll get to the point where it's a case of, okay, show me something else that I can break down because I'm really in the mood right now for winning, right? It's that winning attitude, and it's about winning at life, right? Because life's going to turn up every day for us, and we just can't let it beat us down. So is there anything?
Mr. Jenkins,
Yeah.
is there, may I ask a question, which I think is related to something that happened in our class, last class and also last week. It seemed like some of our students, if not most of them, were really concerned about one assignment. One of the assignments that they had was to prepare a 1 to 2 minute live presentation. They should be on camera and they should be presenting one of the topics talked about during the semester. And we realized a few days ago that what they were having really problems with was with not being told exactly what to do, with actually being given the freedom to choose a topic, to choose whatever time, to choose, and when I asked them why they were having so many problems coming up with the script and the planning of their task, they actually kind of told me that they were not used usually to be assigned these type of topics. Most of the times they were used to being told what to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, you turn this on with this characteristic, with this length of project, and etc. And that's one of the reasons why I also wanted to invite you. I told them that once they get out and they go to work, life is not like that. Life does not include instruction manuals. So this is something that I would like you maybe to talk about. I don't know, students, is this something that you agree it's in our minds?
Well, actually, I remember. So, full disclosure, I do remember you mentioning that to me, and I thought, and that's why I thought we'd start with the activity that we just did, because it leads into that, right? It leads into you understanding how much freedom you have in how much control. And if I've spoke to you before, that word control is very ambiguous, because you only control yourself, right? And you're the only person that should control yourself. Just to always be aware of who's controlling you. So often when we get, you know, and I'm an elementary school, you know, I've taught elementary, middle school and high school. It's so important. We get told as teachers by other teachers, make sure you give them clear instructions and clear directions and clear this, that, and then we complain that they haven't got critical thinking skills. Well, they won't have, because we've just done it all for you, right? How can we give critical thinking skills if we're going to do all the thinking for you, right? Not give you the answers. You can still figure answers out and do things, but we're not allowing thinking and creativity to take place. So it's kind of, it was, I did chuckle when Miss Sandoval said, you know, freedom. It's like, we give you freedom and everyone goes like, we don't want that. We don't want freedom. Just tell us what to do, right? But you do want freedom, right? You do want freedom. And what a great place to be. So by all means, it's nerve-wracking. It's like, what, I can do anything? How will I know if it's right or wrong? Do you know how you know if it's right or wrong? You do it, and you'll soon find out. And that's it. You're at that point now, you know, and you're in what we call, in educational terms and I guess professional terms, you're in the application mode now. I don't mean the application that you find on an iPad or a smartphone, as in you've got the knowledge, okay? You are so bright, you've got knowledge, you've got ways of doing things. Now what we want to see, I'll say we want to see, because we do, what the world wants to see is what you do with that, how you apply it, right? There's no rubric, I may be wrong here, but there's no rubric that Miss Sandoval is going to have that can cover everything that you could possibly come up with. Because the magic of this kind of project is coming up with something that no one thought of before. We don't want to see, right? Your Bill Gates, I was going to say your Steve Jobs, God rest his soul, right? But these companies, your Apples, your Microsofts, your Facebooks, your Googles, your all the tech company, they don't want to employ someone who's only going to do what someone there can already do, right? They want ideas. They want to see new approaches to things. We want to see your imagination work in a way, in a practical way, right? So obviously, if you come up with something that's got the, you know, the imagination of a second grader and doesn't really work, but it was a really cool idea, that's not, you know, you've not applied that correctly, have you? Right? That's not applied appropriately. But you will go through that process in your design thinking phase of whatever your project is, of, okay, I can do this about anything, and it just has to meet the criteria. So you use the criteria to make sure that what you're doing is okay. And as long as as long as you can justify, and that's a really good word, as long as you can justify your use of an idea, or I'm not exactly sure what the assignment is, but if you've got some guidelines and you've got the freedom to do it, and you can say, well, I did this because it met that criteria, and I did this and it meets that criteria, then you're good to go. And not only are you good to go, but it's yours. You didn't just throw back at your teacher what the teacher had already and it's like, yeah, I remember you teaching me this and I wrote it down. There you go. We're beyond that, right? The world's a better place than that. So enjoy the freedom to apply what you know, and have the confidence, you know, have the confidence to try things out. Right? The worst that can happen, I'm not sure what the grading situation's like. I'm not, you know, when I work with my students, I give them the chance to bring something back to me, and then I can coach them and say, you know what, I'm not really thinking that's working. Can you see why? Go back and do it again. Now, I don't know if Miss Sandoval, I don't know if you have that opportunity, right? But that's how real learning takes place, right? Because you are learning from your mistakes. Making mistakes doesn't mean you're a nightmare tragedy, yeah? And it's like, oh, I'm a failure, and yeah, it's actually, I am a super brave person that took a chance with this. I really thought it'd work. Actually, now that we've looked at it, it didn't. I need to go back and alter it, yeah? So, you know, as I always say, you know, I'm still stuck on iPhone 7. but I think we're up to, are we up to what, 14, 12? I don't know, but it wasn't the last iPhone that was built. So even Apple were happy to keep improving things, right? That's the world we're in. And I wish I was in that world when I was your age, because it wasn't as free flowing as that. Okay. So does anyone have any question? Does anyone have anything on their mind? Right. I don't even want to say question. Anything on your mind that you want to ask either myself or Miss Sandoval about this upcoming assignment, and how you can, if you're still uncertain about anything?
Yes, thank you. Open microphones, guys. I don't know if everyone is quiet because they're really focused on what they have to say, or they're just worried. I'm just going to be calling out names, I think.
While we're waiting for the excited ones to just build, I know Astrid's going to say something, because she always does, right? Ricardo, I'm definitely going to come to you in a moment about your media piece, because I think it's fascinating that you've brought that up, and it's something that I'm really strong about, and I do have a point of view on it. I can't say it's the right point of view, but I'll give you the point of view and let you think about it, okay? So, who's going to...
Me,
I think Regina, yeah, go ahead.
When a teacher gives you the task to inspire other people,
Right.
how you can accomplish that? Because I have to be honest, for me, this is a really difficult thing right now to do.
I'm going to in my experience, often the time when you inspire, and apparently I have done, and that's the clue, you don't actually know you're doing it, because it's your authentic self just coming through that someone else sees, and they go like, wow, the way you do that is just so cool, or I really love, or you say something and they go like, man, mine's just blown at how there's no argument to what you've said, right? What you said just works, or whatever it is. Okay. So it's when, I think it's when you step out in a way to try. It's like when you try too hard to do something, it just looks false all round, right? So even if it is the most inspiring thing ever, the way that it was done, someone's going to just, I can be like that. It's like, yeah, you know what? I liked what they said, but it just rubbed me the wrong way, the way they said it, or the way they go about it, or their arrogance, or whatever, right? The stuff I'm talking to you about now, it's not a case of, oh, I'm going to prepare some great, sorry guys, I'm sure you would have all loved it if I'd spent 5 hours preparing for you, but it's a case of this stuff just works. It's a case of, I just want to share what I know works for you guys, and I didn't make any of it up, right? So there's the humility of it all. The humble side of it is, it's all come from somewhere else. I learned it from other people. So now I'm an extra voice for what works and what can be really productive for you folks. So, at your age, and I don't want to sound condescending, but at your age, trying to be an inspiration to each other is actually just support each other. That's the best inspiration you can be, is work as a team with each other, collaborate as opposed to compete, right? Competition is the opposite of collaboration. If you're competing with each other, you might lose, right? If you collaborate, you all win. So that was quite inspiring. I quite like that. That came out pretty well. So, okay, I'll take that one, right? But it's only logic, right? It's only logic. So there's plenty of opportunity. As I said before, you'll never do it all on your own. So you're gonna have to collaborate at some point. And when I say doing it on your own, and I say about winning, I don't mean beating other people. I mean you just winning. Yeah, you achieving your goal is the win. So who was it with the? I forgot now. When we talked about the to-do list, right? Lisette, I think. Lisette. The to-do list. That's your win every day. Get that to-do list. No, it wasn't. Sorry, it was Julietta, right? With the job, yeah. Juliet. So get your to-do list done, okay? And also cheat a little bit. Make it a to-do list that you know you can win, right? You're writing the to-do list, right? You're writing the rules for the game. Make sure you can, don't be going like writing 25 things down on a list when you know that for 4 hours you're going to be in college one day. So when am I going to do this? Prioritize, write the 5 most important things you need to get done the next day. Get them done by lunchtime. Go and buy yourself a nice frappuccino, whatever. I don't even know what the things are these days, right? Make the game winnable for yourself. Make your rules and win every day. Everyone else is irrelevant, right? Actually, one of my favorite sayings a colleague said to me was, whatever anyone else thinks about you is absolutely none of your business. And that really helped me kind of just take away, it's not, you know, they make, and that's, unless it's really good, then it's your business, right? Make it your business, right? But you have the choice. You have the choice to decide, yeah, well, that's what you think, and what you think. I have no control over that. That's none of my business. I don't even have to get involved with arguing with you because I already know you're wrong. Just move on. Get on with what you've got to do. You're far too important to be distracted or derailed by irrelevant stuff. And let's face it, when we go back to procrastination, it's very often the irrelevant stuff that derails us, right? And we don't get done what we should get done. Does anyone? So thank you. I don't know, Daniela, is that how?
Daniela. Yes, Danny. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to mention we only have 10 more minutes. And I wish we could go for longer, but we only have 10 more minutes because then they actually will have to focus on preparing their presentations. But
Okay.
for 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes, 15 minutes. Oh, you want to keep talking? Okay, well, if you want to keep talking, then as long as you have participation and you actively participate, then let's ask Mr. Jenkins to stay a little bit longer because I know he should be focused on something else, but thank you very much. So if you want him to be around, just keep asking questions.
I'm actually going to touch base with Ricardo because he's got into some detail here in sharing something that I don't think is totally connected to what we're talking about, but it's out there, right? And it's out there and it is actually a distraction, right? And I'm actually going to boil it down to media, Ricardo. We're going to boil it down to what is the biggest challenge for. Actually, I'm going to be completely transparent. I was in the teacher lounge at my school last week and we were talking about, and my belief is that the media, certainly in the US, because it's not really news anymore, it's commentary on the news. So they take an incident that's happened and they think about all the things that happened. 320 million people in the US. So think about how many incidents happen. Think about, let's just take the police situation. How many police officers? I have no idea. But hundreds of thousands of police officers in the US. And every once in a while we hear about one story. And every once in a while in the same week, we might hear 2 stories. And we know that those stories are going to involve rape. It's going to be a white cop and a black young man. Okay, or a black lady, a black girl as it was last week, right? But when we look at the actual ratio, and I'm sure you know what ratios are, of 2 out of 320 million people, and these things aren't happening every day, they're happening every few months on average, right? The news are taking these situations and don't get me wrong, there is absolutely there's a race problem, right? Globally, right? Race is something, I'm not denying that, absolutely. But what's disappointing for me is that companies make money out of it because that's what they're doing. They're capitalizing to make stories, to sell advertising space. There are a million things they could report on the news, right? For example, I would say homelessness was a real big problem as well. I never see it reported on the news. I would say, as awful as it is, and I'm a teacher, right? As a teacher, I would say sexual abuse cases in schools are a huge thing. Very rarely do you hear of those on the news, right? They go on. I would say that accidental deaths happening on operating tables. I know for a fact there's about 200,000 a year in the US alone. 200,000. Bear in mind, less than 1,000 people in total in the US get shot and killed by police officers, be it criminals, whatever, you know, violent criminals, whatever, not unarmed men, right? That's it. Less than 1,000 a year. Yet 200,000 people a year die through mistakes, accidental errors in hospitals. Never gets reported, right? So the media, I'm just giving you some figures there. I'm not weighting what should be reported and what shouldn't be reported, but when you've had a president like we've had President Trump, who wasn't a politician, he came in as a businessman, as a bit of a TV celebrity, and you know, he didn't actually do anything different as a president than he said he was going to do for 30 years on TV. For 30 years on TV shows, he was asked, "Are you going to be president?" And he was like, "Yeah, you know what?" And I'm noticing, and the things he talked about was security, business, the economy, and how trade deals between other countries. They were his three big things. And he was a very careless speaking person. I'm not a fan of the man as a human being, as a person. But that didn't matter because it was the things he was said that were twisted because it wasn't Hillary Clinton that became president, right? And that was it. There was just this constant attack on this person. And if that attack had have happened on any individual that wasn't Donald Trump or the president of the USA, it would have been called bullying at the very least, because no one would have stood by and watched that level of attack happen, where words were getting twisted, phrases. I mean, the idea that he told everyone to inject. I'm just giving you some examples, and I'm doing this for Ricardo's purpose, right? There was about 6 months, you know, he said, oh, maybe people should. The idea was that he told everyone to inject themselves with disinfectant so that they could cure themselves from COVID. He never even said anything. He never even used the word inject, right? And he never said that people should do it. Yet CNN somehow heard that, reported it, and that's what the world was posting all over social media. So the media, I would, if I was you, if you could find a station or a channel where you can actually just get, and I don't know where it is because I wish I could find it, if you could get something that just tells you the facts of an incident, right? Let's face it, if you have an incident in school, I don't know, is it a principal you have? What do you have at college? I don't know. But let's go back to high school, right? You go back to high school. You have an incident where two girls at lunchtime are having a fight. The principal just wants to know what happened. Who started it? What was said? Who threw the first punch? How did you retaliate? Blah, blah, blah. They don't get into the whole backstory of, you know, I'm going to take two people that spoke to it. I'm going to take, who are they? I've got Julietta and Astrid, right? So Julietta and Astrid, you've been in a high school, you're seventh graders, middle school girl drama, right? You've been in a fight. We're not going to get into, oh yeah, and Astrid's got a real track history all the way through elementary school of doing these things. But Julietta, you know, she goes to church. She's a good person. There's no biases going on in the principal's office, right? It's what happened. What happened? Right, okay, you're both suspended, right? I'm sure that never happened to you two because I can't see it possibly, but, you know, but you can see where I'm coming from, I hope, right? That the facts are the facts and everything else is just storytelling. And you've got to cut through the storytelling to get to what actually happened. And really, most of the time, what's being reported on the news as a story has got more value than a story, than the actual detail, than what it was. Right? So, Ricardo, am I connecting with what you said here? You know, BLM and Antifa, those kind of groups. We don't know enough about them, right? Because I don't know. I know people that support BLM, obviously, right? And the phrase Black Lives Matter means a lot to me because it's an absolute fact. Of course, Black Lives Matter. But I don't associate to group. I've got a bit of more of a Buddhist kind of approach where I feel everything comes from internally as a human being. So I don't affiliate with groups because you know what? You only need one person in that group to play up or act out. And guess what? The whole group then gets perceived as being the actions of that person, and I'm part of that group. I don't need that. I don't, you know, I'm pretty balanced, you know, level-minded, balanced. So when it comes to groups and things like that, it's just, it's absolutely, it's like every day is Christmas morning for the media companies. They've got a gift every day, right? And I'll tell you something, when Donald Trump got voted in, CNN were clapping their hands. They had 4 years of great material. They knew they had stories going on. I'll tell you, and I can prove that because since Joe Biden's been in, he hasn't done anything, right? There's been nothing to read about, right? I'm not saying he hasn't done anything, but even what he has done hasn't been enough to fill newspapers and fill web pages with celebration, because it's been a very slow process and he's not been making things happen, and he isn't the personality that Donald Trump was. Whether he just doesn't give anything away that you can either celebrate or that you can spin. So this idea that all the media companies were upset when Donald Trump came into power, he made more money for the media companies than probably any individual in the last 50 years. Because they always had stuff to write about, and everyone was. In fact, there was a story last week. I think CNN has lost something like 40% of its viewers since Donald Trump hasn't, because they're not interested in it. They haven't got anything to report. There's no storytelling to take place. So Ricardo, I think you're really onto something very mature there. And I would always break it down. I would always break this down. Let's go back to you as professionals. Always ask yourself the question, when someone's offering you something, what's in it for them? And if the word isn't like I'm not getting anything for it, right? I put in my demands weren't met. I asked for $10,000 for today, and Miss Sandoval said, no, I can't pay you anything. And it was like, okay, right? No, I actually offered to come in and say, meet you guys. So always ask what's in it for them. And you'll always find there's something. There's always, most of the time, if someone is selling you a book, right? If someone's having a talk, but then they've got this at the end of the conversation, oh, by the way, my new book goes on sale next month. So it was a sales pitch for a book. Then what's the book about? Okay. And look through the bigger picture of a book. I'm not going to give too much detail. We're doing a book right now. And on the surface, it sounds great because the title is everything that it should be in this world today. But as you get into it, it's absolutely promoting a certain political agenda, and it's super clear what's going on. And they're using racism or anti-racism to promote a political agenda. And that takes the shine off it, because as much as I want to follow the anti-racist piece, I kind of feel, well, how authentic is this? Because it's pushing something for this individual that's writing the book. So always ask yourself, what is in this for the person that's apparently giving me something? And if they're getting more back than you're getting out of it, then just question. That's up to you then, just question that. Does that make sense? I don't know if I know that makes sense to me, but I don't know if that makes sense to people who don't know what I'm talking about. Astrid's giving me a nod, so I think that's okay. Right. So that was it. That was the 10 minutes, I think, Miss Sandoval.
I think so too. I just want to know, students, are there any other questions, any other comments, anything else you would like to talk about? Because we're about to get ready to go. I mean, I will be connected still because the class, Mr. Jenkins, we still have 45 minutes of class, but I'm giving the students time to focus on their presentations. However, if they want to keep talking about these interesting topics, we can keep going for as long as they want. I just need to make sure, are there questions, comments? Come on, guys.
Just saw Regina's comment in the chat box. Can I read that out, Regina? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. I think that in this class, we realize the importance of the freedom and that we can control our lives in any way. But I feel like there's a connection between having the control and learning how to do the things that we want to do, and the procrastination thing that we were talking about before, because in most of the situations we delegate the freedom or the control just because we leave things for later, right? So you delegate that freedom where it's a case of, okay, what is it I actually have to do? Yeah, is that what you're kind of saying, Regina? Ultimately, you get to the point, what's the minimum I have to do to get this across the line? Yeah, I've got to get this assignment in, yeah? Instead of, and we all do it, right? We all do it. So let's realize that human beings, we do this, okay? But the better human beings do it earlier. So just be better. So, you know, the earlier you start on something, the more freedom you have, because time gives us more time, gives us more freedom. Okay. And the thing I really love about what Regina's saying there, or what I think Regina's saying there, and my interpretation of that is, you've got 24 hours in a day, right? You try having a day off where you've got zero to do and sit around for 18 of those 24 hours. You realize how long that is, right? And we've had that a little bit with COVID, right? I've had days where I've had zero to do. And it's a case of, oh, you know what, I'll just go and play piano for 3 hours, or I'll read some, but there's nothing to do. That's a heck of a long time. And you've got that every day, and that's given to you on a plate. Yeah, you don't have to pay for that. It doesn't matter what background you come from. You've got 24 hours in a day that you don't need. You don't need all 24 hours. But I appreciate the applause there, Regina. That was pretty cool. It was moving as well. It was like an animated one. ADD kicking in again. Right, go back. So where was I? Shiny, flashy things on the screen don't work for me, Miss Sandoval. Stop laughing at me. All right. Time. Yeah, you've got the time. You don't need 24 hours every day to do everything that you need to do. So just don't waste, make sure you use that time. Actually, I'll never say don't waste that time. Just use it really well. Because we can all waste a bit of time. There's no harm in that, right? But make sure you're using your time well.
Any other comment or question, students? Yes, go ahead, my dear Ana Aurora, go ahead.
Yeah, talking about freedom, like whenever we have the freedom to choose something, like how do we know we are making the right decision?
How do we know? Sorry, how do we know we're making the right decisions when?
Whenever we have the freedom to choose something or to make a decision, like how do we know we are making the right?
How do we know we're making the right decisions? Wow, if that isn't like one of the deepest questions in the world ever. Well, there's the old thing about experience, right? And as one of my 8th graders in the past once said, the only thing worse than having to learn from experience is not learning from experience. So use experience to learn from, right? But how do you get experience of making mistakes without making mistakes? Because who wants to make a mistake, right? Who wants to be wrong? And the fact is, you've got to accept the fact you're going to make mistakes. And sometimes you've got to look for every possible way to do something and then pick which is the way that you think is best. And it goes back to justifying it. It's always being able to say, okay, I made this decision based on this. Or I'm choosing this. I've got let's say you're doing a presentation, and it's really difficult for me to think about what an example could be for that, but you could only, let's say you could only put 3 bullet points in and you've got 5 things to choose from. Then as long as the 3 that you choose are really good points, it doesn't matter. No one's going to know the 2 points that you didn't put it. Does that make sense? As long you've just got to have faith in the fact that you're making a good choice. And a good choice doesn't mean it's the only good choice, right? A good decision doesn't mean it's the only good decision, but there's definitely a decision, but there's definitely a difference between a good decision and a bad decision, right? It comes down to those that were on my last time I was here. We talked about character strengths and prudence, right? Prudence is all about thinking things through and making the right choice. You have to trust your own gut. You have to be brave. You have to trust your own judgment and say, okay, well, I've looked at all the reasons here and I can't see a reason for not doing that. This works. And even if someone says it doesn't work for them, it's not them you're doing it for. If it works for you, it works for you.
And I have to thank you, Mr. Jenkins, because you just put in words what I probably wasn't successful at sharing with our students in the past. whatever you decide to make your presentation about, I have been very clear on the fact that your job is just to show what you've got. And you don't have to worry about the grade. I have told you that before. I mean, you know how I feel about grades and about quizzes. You know me, guys. So I think you're more worried than me, for example, about getting a grade than actually being worried about doing what you already know how to do well. I don't know if I'm making myself clear here.
It's actually interesting about the grade thing, because the piece of advice I was going to give you, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go there, was imagine if you could never fail, what would you do? As long as you knew it was right? As long as you knew your choices were good and were intelligent and were respectful and responsible and all those things. Imagine you could never fail. Start from there, go and do that. Start from there and then reel it in, right? And then shape it up a little bit. That's freedom, right? Because
and I'm realizing, oh, sorry.
That's it. Carry on.
I was just going to say that I'm realizing I think we should have taught this class together, Mr. Jenkins, from the beginning, because I think you're actually helping me make some of my points across. Maybe some of the points I haven't been very successful at transmitting to our students. Thank you. I really appreciate this. And I don't know, students, if this collaboration in teaching is actually helping you understand what I've been trying to perhaps convey to whole semester. Thank you. I see some nodding, some people nodding. Thank you. That I really appreciate, because that means we're going on the right track. And I really appreciate that, students. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. You see, Mr. Jenkins, for next semester, I think you're supposed to join from the beginning, not wait until the end. Okay.
Okay. Well. Oh, wow. Some happy faces. Wow. Well, always leave when you're ahead. Quit when you're ahead, they say. So I think now's a good time for that to happen. I'm not quitting though. I'm just moving away a little bit, just taking a break. Listen, folks, if I don't see you again before the end of your semester and what, just my sincerest best luck with everything that you go on to do. And, I'm not going to necessarily be around, but just find people that can help you, right? Find your people. And if they're not helping you, it's not a bad thing. Just don't hang out with them as much as the people that do help you. Okay. Right. So, just God bless to you all, and all the very best. And I hope one day I'll see you all again. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jenkins. I'll stay in case you have questions about your assignment. And thank you, Mr. Jenkins. I hope we can see you soon as well. Thank you.
And as always, if there are any questions that come up afterwards and you want to send them through to me, then by all means, please do. Okay.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
Bye.
Okay, guys, for the rest of you, I'll be hanging out here for another half an hour in case you have questions about your presentations. Those of you, first I've had to ask, is there anyone ready to present today? Are you ready? If you're ready, we're very happy to see your presentation. If you do not feel ready, we can wait until next week. However, as we have been saying, and I'm so glad Mr. Jenkins also affirmed something that I have been trying to say. If you couldn't fail, imagine what could you do? That's exactly what I want to see in your presentations. And I'm sure that's exactly what I will see in your presentation. Okay. So if anyone's ready, okay. If you're not, is anyone ready? I just want to make sure. Is anyone ready to present today? Not really. Okay, that's perfect. That's beautiful. Don't worry. What we're going to do then, those of you who were supposed to present today, come ready for next Tuesday. Okay. I'm going to be here, but I'm going to go silent. You can leave if you want. You can stay if you want. It's not mandatory. Okay. I hope you learned things. I hope you took notes. The only thing I expect from you today is to upload the notes of the week. That's the only thing I expect you to do, so you get your 50% participation grade. And those are notes from last class and this class that we just had with Mr. Jenkins. Okay. So that's the only thing you have to do. Focus on your presentation, go relax, go do what you have things pending to do, your homework, assignments, projects. I'll see you on Tuesday, but I'll be here in case you need me, okay? Thank you very much. And just as Mr. Jenkins said, God bless. I'll be around. You know I love you. I'm very proud of you, and nothing you can do can make me not feel proud of you. So you'll be fine, okay? Thank you. I'll be around.
Thank you, Ella.